new study out, Johns Hopkins say that, the lockdowns didn't do any good. I mean, the mortality rate was what, 0.2%? What's this study say? I mean, should we, hindsight being 2020, should we have focused on boosting our own immunity instead of hiding in the tornado shelter out back? Well, Dr. Mark Sherwood, he's treated countless COVID patients, and he's passionate about prevention and boosting the body's natural immune system, something we didn't hear much about. All we heard was get the shot, then get the booster. He's been very outspoken about the way the government's handled this pandemic. I'm told I can call him Dr. Mark, healthy living expert. Dr. Mark, thanks for being with us.
Rick, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Honored to be here.
All right, let's break this thing down. I can't tell you, I'm a caller-driven show, and hundreds of people would call in and say, Rick, we've worked for decades to build this business, and the government was able to ruin it in one short year. I mean, we didn't talk about any of the therapeutics. I'm not a doctor, obviously, but we didn't talk about therapeutics. It was just, the magic bullet, which I guess is supposed to be the vaccine and the booster. Shouldn't we have been look at the study from Johns Hopkins. That tells me that we didn't do things the right way.
Well, you're right. I wanted to, when I saw that same headline, I wanted to put it out through all of our media pathways with this caption above with one word, duh. I mean, it was clear that this was not well directed. And I go back to March 2020, and you're right. No one from government or medicine or church had stood up and said, listen, we need to take care of ourselves. Our immune system's been around for the beginnings of time, and so have viruses. So let's trust those systems. Let's support those systems by doing the things right. And to that point, that's the angle that we took, Rick. And we started to address this by literally attacking all those comorbidities, that you hear about, like obesity,
right,
type 2 diabetes, blood pressure issues. And we went after those things with a vengeance, with one thing in mind, to reduce and eliminate those things. Now, when we did, you would guess we had great results. 1,000, 2,000, and now we're up to almost 10,000 people. Nobody died. Again, confirming what we already knew, that we should have been addressing this stuff from the beginning, and we just didn't. And you're right, I've been very outspoken about that because it's just common sense, and I want people to sort of regain some common sense that's in them already.
And, that's really something that is sorely lacking with any bureaucracy, whether it's academic or the government at any level. Once you stop following the herd and the so-called status quo, and you start working on the things individually, and, in my particular case, in February of last year, I had a quadruple bypass, and came home, talked to my cardiologist about what do I need to do, and he said, well, the first thing, it's going to take you a couple months to get rid of the brain fog, and he goes, if you'll just do what you need to do to recover from having your heart outside your chest for 5 hours, that's going to go a long way to improving your immunity, which is what you need to be doing when it comes to COVID. So that's primarily what I did. Watched what I ate, dropped some weight, did all of those things, and thank God I didn't have too hard a time. I know some people did, and to them, their reality is the way the world is, and I get that. But in the broader picture, shouldn't we have been working on therapeutics? Shouldn't we? I mean, it's like everybody wanted the magic bullet, to come out, okay, well, I'll get one shot and I'll be fine. But that didn't prove to be the case.
No, you're exactly right. And I look at this historically. I was sharing this with someone recently. When you look at our pathway, our trajectory, or our model of health trends dating back 50 years, we can see this concept of obesity and diseases that went up exponentially once the federal government started trying to get involved in our health care.
Right.
Once they started trying to tell us what to do, it became an utter disaster. And right now, for just to prove the point and nail this in the coffin, so to speak, is that we know that obesity is the fastest growing non-communicable disease on the planet. Now, having said that, why aren't we trying to reduce it? Why are people like my wife and I considered freaks or radicals when we're just doing what we should be doing, exactly what you just said, eating right, staying off of negative media, giving people some hope, giving them some faith, exercising, getting plenty of sleep. These are common sense things, and I have no confidence at all in right now the CDC. I call them the Centers of Disease Out of Control and Lack of Prevention, because they simply have shown us all of us as Americans over the last 50 years how inept they are and how driven they are by special interests. I mean, you can't go inside people's heart and find out what's really there.
Right.
But
right.
The evidence is clear. They've been completely unsuccessful in trying to get the health in America established at least to good levels.
No, you're absolutely on point. And, taking the pulse of America every day by talking to these people, the World Health Organization, it fell off the confidence track a long time ago, closely followed by Dr. Fauci and then the CDC. And yeah. I think it's an example of luck. Nobody at any level of government, whether it's city, county, state, or federal, is better at taking care of your health than you. It's so obvious. Let me ask you one thing before we get too short on time. One of my pet peeves is, I have to prep for the show, and I start doing that about 5:36 in the morning. I take a look, and then, of course, Bill, he's doing his thing. It's mask this and mask that. I wish I had a nickel for every time I heard people arguing back and forth about masks. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm sick and tired of it. How much money have we spent on the great mask argument in this country? It's ridiculous.
It is completely absurd, isn't it? Two things to keep in mind with masks. One is just a question for thought. Do you think these masks are purchased in China? Just a thought. The second part of that is we know they don't work, period. It's like the argument has been, if you want to try to stop mosquitoes from coming on your property, go ahead and erect a chain link fence. I mean, that's the argument we're making. These viruses are so small, and we don't wear the mask properly anyway. We're not stopping anything at this point. And I agree with your assessment in the intro on the other doctor who commented. We are at the endemic stage now. We've been at the endemic stage for a long time. Let's get back to our lives as normal and trust people to assess their own risk like we've earned the right to do. Take care of themselves. We need leaders. That's why I've stepped up personally and am running for office, because I'm sick of not having good leaders out here that are going to lead by example. And I think that's where we need to go, Rick.
No, I'm with you 100%. And by the way, before I get too far down the road, what office are you running for?
I am a gubernatorial candidate for Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Well, all right. That's my home state. I appreciate that very, very much. You need to get the word out, and I'm sure Oklahoma will be behind you. They tend to move toward common sense instead of
yeah, they do.
You know what I mean? I mean, they just do. Well, listen, if people want to get more information, and I know they do because they were emailing me this morning about you before I even came on the air. You have a website, you have some place they can go to read what you've written about this. Where do they go?
Of course. We have plenty of information available on our website at Sherwood.tv. There's all kinds of free things they can download and get connected to and get really all the protocols and all the processes we talk about. And we want people to have that, Rick, because we're trying to bless people with freedom, and the best way to do that is to give them free information. So if they want to work with us, they can. But that website, again, is Sherwood.tv.
You out of Oklahoma City or Tulsa? What city are you out of?
Yeah, we're out of Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Okay. All right. Actually, there's two large cities in Oklahoma City and Tulsa, but we appreciate your time. We'll certainly wish you well in your gubernatorial race. We could use you, and there's no doubt about that. Dr. Mark Sherwood. We appreciate it so much, Dr. Mark.
Thank you, Rick, for having me. Reach out anytime. Look forward to coming back.